Billionaire CEO faces disaster. Janitor's unexpected skill seals the deal. Nathan Whitmore stood at the edge of triumph. His company, Ether Dynamics, was hours away from finalizing a $2 billion acquisition, the kind of deal that would cement his legacy. The sleek downtown tower buzzed with anticipation. Investors were en route. Press releases drafted. But deep in the basement, the core AI server flickered and died. Engineers scrambled, faces tight with panic. The prototype, the heart of the deal, had failed. Nathan stared at the darkened screens, his empire trembling on the edge of collapse. And above it all, unnoticed, Elias Carter began his nightly shift, mop in hand, eyes calm, moving like a man who had seen storms before. Elias Carter had worked at Ether for 7 years. Every night, he moved through the halls like a shadow, wiping glass, emptying bins, checking lights. At 68, his hands bore the marks of decades, callous, steady, precise. Employees called him the quiet one, if they called him anything at all. But Elias saw more than dust. He saw stress in a CEO's posture, fatigue in a scientist's slumped shoulders, the flicker of a faulty circuit others missed. Once, he'd been an electrical engineer, designing systems for aerospace labs. Life had shifted, quietly, after a factory closure and a long road of rebuilding. Now, he cleaned. But his mind never stopped working. As engineers argued over tangled wires, Elias paused near the server room. He didn't interrupt. He simply watched, the way the cooling fan stuttered, the way the primary relay pulsed unevenly. Without a word, he pointed to a small, reversed connector. A junior tech scoffed. But Nathan, passing by, paused. There was no arrogance in Elias's gesture, only certainty. A technician reconnected it. The system hummed back to life. A cheer rose. Nathan turned to the janitor. "How did you know?" Elias only said, "Some things you don't forget." That night, for the first time, Nathan truly saw him. Part 4. The weight of what was lost. Nathan asked to meet. Over coffee in the empty break room, Elias spoke in quiet sentences of a career cut short, of a wife lost to illness, of raising a daughter alone on odd jobs. He didn't complain. He didn't ask for anything. But Nathan listened, struck by the depth beneath the silence. This man had once designed life support systems. He understood circuits, yes, but also consequence, balance, human need. "You're wasted here," Nathan said. Elias smiled faintly. "No job is wasted if it helps someone." Nathan left that room changed. He hadn't found a technician. He'd found a teacher. The server worked, but the AI still failed its final test. It could calculate, but not understand. In ethical simulations, it chose efficiency over empathy, logic over compassion. Investors were hesitant. The deal hung by a thread. Nathan reviewed hours of data, frustrated. Then he remembered Elias, standing in the hallway, observing everything. He showed him the AI's flaw, a scenario where it denied aid to a struggling single mother to optimize resource allocation. Elias studied it. "It doesn't see her," he said. "It sees data, not dignity." Elias suggested a new training model using real emotional patterns from everyday human interactions: tone, pause, hesitation, care. He sketched a feedback loop that prioritized context over speed. Engineers were skeptical, but Nathan trusted the man who had seen what they'd missed. They implemented the changes. Slowly, the AI began to respond, not just with answers, but with awareness. It started asking, "What does this mean for the person on the other side?" For the first time, the machine didn't just work, it cared. Nathan insisted Elias join the final team. Some resisted. "He's not qualified." Nathan replied, "He understands people better than any of us." Elias worked quietly, observing, adjusting, guiding. He didn't demand credit, but his presence shifted the room. Engineers began asking different questions. Designers considered emotion. The AI evolved. And when the final demo ran, handling crisis, compassion, and complexity with balance, the room fell silent. Then, applause. One investor whispered, "This feels alive." The investors arrived. The presentation began. The AI navigated disaster response, medical triage, ethical dilemmas, each time choosing not just what was right, but what was kind. The room was still. Then, one by one, they nodded. The deal was approved. As contracts were signed, Nathan stood apart, searching the back of the room. Elias was already gone, pushing his cart down the hall, doing his job. But the victory wasn't just Nathan's. It belonged to the man who had rebuilt a broken system, not with code, but with conscience. Nathan offered Elias a formal role, lead ethical advisor, with full title, salary, and office. Elias hesitated. "I like my freedom," he said. Nathan smiled. "Then work your hours. Keep your cart. But stay." Elias agreed with one condition: create a program for overlooked workers with hidden talents. "Everyone has something to give," he said. "You just have to look." Months after the deal was sealed, Ether Dynamics launched its most revolutionary creation, not just a machine, but a milestone. The new AI system, unveiled to global attention, carried a name that stunned the tech world: Carter Core. No flashy branding, no corporate acronym. Just a simple tribute, etched in the code, printed on the plaque, spoken in press conferences. Carter. Not Whitmore. Not one of the executives, the investors, or the Ivy League engineers. Carter. As in Elias Carter. At the launch event, Nathan Whitmore stood at the podium, the lights bright, the audience expectant. He spoke of innovation, of breakthroughs, of a new era in ethical technology. But halfway through, he paused. The screen behind him dimmed. A quiet video began, security footage, grainy but clear. Elias in the dim server room, adjusting a wire, calm amid chaos. Then clips of him listening, observing, sketching ideas on a notepad during breaks. No words, just presence. When the screen went dark, Nathan stepped aside. "There's someone I'd like you to meet," he said. From the back of the hall, Elias walked forward, not in a suit, not in a lab coat, but in his clean janitor's uniform, his name tag shining under the lights. A hush fell. Then, slowly, the audience rose. Not out of obligation, out of respect. Some had no idea who he was, but they felt it, the weight of his journey, the silence of his sacrifice, the depth of his contribution. Elias didn't smile broadly. He didn't wave. He simply bowed slightly, touched his heart, and returned to his seat. In the days that followed, the story spread. Not because of the AI, but because of the man behind it, the one who cleaned the floors, who listened more than he spoke, who saw what others overlooked. Schools began inviting him to speak. Companies asked how to find their own Elias. And Ether launched the Carter Fellowship, giving overlooked workers a chance to share their skills, their ideas, their voices. But Elias still came in early, still mopped the halls, still smiled at the interns, still checked the lights before leaving. Because some men don't seek recognition, they seek purpose. And sometimes, the quietest hands are the ones that rebuild the world.